Welcome back to Carolina Journal Radio. I'm Donna Martinez. About 24 state lawmakers, Republicans and Democrats, that's about 15% of the General Assembly or so, well, they are retiring from office. So that means after the November election, there will be quite a few new faces over at the state legislature and potentially some new outlooks on policies as well. Becki Gray, who's Senior Vice President with the Locke Foundation, will be getting to know all of the new members after the election. She joins us now to talk about what could be ahead. Becki, welcome back to the show.
Thank you. Always a pleasure.
So 24 people, that sounds on the one hand like a lot of people, but is it really?
Well, out of 170 total lawmakers that we have in the General Assembly, we always have a turnover. There are people that retire for whatever reason. There are people that, after the primary, we're going to see too, because there may be some who are defeated in the primary that don't come back. I mean, what we just know now is who has filed and who hasn't. This is not out of the ordinary, not one way or the other. Is this an outlier in what we usually see? We always have folks who have been long-term serving in the General Assembly that move on, and with them go some real historical knowledge and background and that. But this is how it goes. It's an ebb and flow kind of thing. Don, I'll tell you a couple things that I have found interesting this year, though, is there are a number of lawmakers who are giving up their seats in the General Assembly to run for other offices. We have a couple of House members that are running for open Senate seats. And then we also have a number of lawmakers that are running for governor, lieutenant governor, superintendent of public instruction. I mean, there are other offices that some of these folks are running for. So although they're leaving the General Assembly, they're taking their knowledge and experience from the General Assembly and perhaps going to serve in other offices across North Carolina. So that is the thing that struck out to me in this of maybe a little bit unusual. One other thing, too, that I found interesting is there are a number of Republican members, former members of the House, who are coming back to run for their seats again. And one Democrat in the Senate, I think it is Alan Wellens, who is from Johnston County, who served in that body years ago, is running again for that seat. So there's always a transition and there's always an ebb and flow. The numbers are not what is interesting to me this year. It's where those people are going and where their other interest is.
A lot of moving parts there. That's kind of interesting. So on the one hand, when it comes to the General Assembly, there will be some loss of institutional knowledge and background and history of how things have worked, what policy issues and proposals have come up before, perhaps. But on the other hand, you're going to get some new ideas, some new thinking, and also people who need to ramp up on all of that knowledge that other people have. One of the ways they do that, of course, is to rely on organizations like the Locke Foundation. And you actually run a program that helps legislators, no matter their political party, no matter their ideology, get up to speed on things.
Right, and we've been doing this since 2008, so it's a very well-established program that we have, and this is open to all candidates, regardless of what their political affiliation may be, or even the particular race that they're running for. It's geared mostly towards legislative races, but we also work with a lot of Council of State races and congressional candidates. Anybody who is interested in good, solid, well-researched, conservative policies, we are the go-to source. And Donna, this year has another kind of outlier. I think we've had more participants just this far in the election cycle this year than we have in the past. So I think that's good news. I think it's good news for the Locke Foundation, but I think it's also good news for North Carolina that people are very interested in these kind of policies and the information that we're able to provide.
So you're helping to get those folks educated, informed about public policy as they look towards running for office, and then those that are actually elected in November, boy, they're going to have a lot of information they'll need to know. And of course, you'll be over there at the legislature literally day in and day out talking with folks, helping them understand the questions on the table.
Yeah. I mean, this public policy in North Carolina state government is complicated, and there's a lot of pieces to it. And I think one of the things that I've really been encouraged to, again, people from all different parties want to be informed. They want to know. They want the facts. They want the data. They want to be able to understand, to process, and then to articulate what their views are on these very important issues, whether it's taxes and budget, whether it's reining in the growth of government, whether it's regulation, whether it's health care, education, legal issues, property rights, you name it. People have been very responsive to what we have to offer. And I think that's good news, again, for the Locke Foundation, for the candidates, but also for the people of North Carolina.
And helping those candidates and then elected officials understand the impact on real people of the votes that they will make as members of the General Assembly.
And, as you mentioned, too, our interaction and our efforts don't end when Election Day is over. In a lot of ways, that we're just getting started then as a resource for lawmakers throughout each two-year biennium. And in some cases, because we've been doing this since 2008, there are sitting legislators that we worked with when they were just thinking about running for public office. And so, you have that value of a long relationship and also the consistency of the policies and the ideas that we have and are able to articulate and provide that good, solid information for folks.
It'll be after November of 2020 then that we find out what the established and elected makeup of the General Assembly will be and who those new people are and who those veterans are that you'll be working with going forward. But before we get to that, Becki, we've got actually a short session of the current General Assembly that will be back in Raleigh in April. And I know you've already got your list together of what you hope to be talking with people about. Let's start and talk about criminal law reform. That has been a real high priority on your list, and the legislature has started to take some action. What is it, first of all?
Yeah, well, Donna, we've seen these transformational reforms in North Carolina with our tax system, with the way that we look at state government budget, the size of state government and how all that is put together, infrastructure, the way we fund education, the way that we make investments in infrastructure. And so this criminal law reform is kind of the next big piece of the reforms that North Carolina can do. And what we're talking about is looking at our criminal law system. We have criminal statutes that, of course, are in those volumes of law books. They're actually scattered throughout all of those volumes of the general statutes. But in addition to that, we have all kinds of criminal violations through state agencies. We also have all kinds of criminal violations that are put into place by local governments, municipalities and counties, boards and commissions, all kinds of things. And it is a big mishmash of stuff. There is no way that a regular person can understand and figure out all of those criminal law violations. Now, obviously, things like, rape and murder and larceny and battery and all of those kind of things, of course. But what we have is a lot of criminal activities that have been declared criminal activities that are, in many cases, being a burden for people to start businesses. Imagine if you want to start, your own business. You've invested your money. You get underway with that, and you begin to realize, gee, if I go askance of the law here, I could be convicted of a crime.
And you might not even know it.
And probably would not even know it. So imagine the chilling effect that has on people that, may want to start their own business. And it just, lots of overlap. Occupational licensing can have criminal convictions associated with it. So what this reform is talking about is going up and cleaning that up, looking for duplication, looking at, in North Carolina we have 17 different laws about larceny. Why is that, scattered all across the books? I mean, why don't we have one law that says in North Carolina it's against a lot of steal stuff, rather than all these others? And yeah, I mean, we kind of make light of it a little bit, but it really has had a real chilling effect on people. And so this whole criminal law reform notion is to go in, clean it up, and then recodify what our laws are, and then go forward from that. And with that, once we get that all cleaned up, then some of the other criminal justice reforms that we've talked about will kind of take care of themselves.
So this is a multi-year, long-term process that is now underway, and first of all, trying to even gather all this information together.
That's where we are right now in the process, gathering the information.
And it is everywhere, so it is quite a complicated task, but it's an important one, and that's why the John Locke Foundation has started to focus on this. Becki Gray is Senior Senior Vice President with the Locke Foundation. By the way, you can read all of her analysis of public policy at johnlocke.org and carolinajournal.com. You're also on Twitter. Give us your Twitter feed.
At Becki Gray, BECKIGRAY.
That is a great feed. If you are not following Becki Gray or the John Locke Foundation, which is at John Locke NC, be sure to go ahead, get on Twitter, and follow both of those accounts to make sure you're up to date on everything happening with public policy in North Carolina. Becki, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.